The philosophy of CGP Grey is all about individualism, science, and compassion. In the previous video, I explained the philosophy of the Vlogbrothers and how it reaches the conclusion that, to decrease suffering, first we must imagine others complexly. In this video, we'll explain the philosophy of CGP Grey and how it is opposite to the one of the Vlogbrothers. But first of all, who is CGP Grey? CGP Grey has famously only shown his face once, to his Patreon supporters, and he rarely talks about his life, which is already the opposite of the very open John and Hank, who have thousands of videos showing their faces and talking about their lives. And at first, it would seem that we don't have much to go on. Most of his videos are about facts, about explaining things, with little to no opinion. But when you watch a bunch of them for like the 5th time, you start to realize something. Grey thinks the world is simple. Check this out. In his video Rules for Rulers, he claims that everything about ruling and government can be explained by the necessity of the person in power to keep his key supporters supporting him. In his video 7 Ways to Maximize Misery, he claims that 7 habits will make you happy, suggesting that if you want to be happy, you should avoid them. Both very complex subjects with very simple alleged explanations. This goes for his other videos as well, explaining the difference between England and the UK, how to become the Catholic Pope, copyright the primaries in the United States, daylight saving, Groundhog Day. They are all about making complex things simple. So I guess that you could say that Grey thinks that the truth does not resist simplicity, but that in fact, the truth is simple. Which is the exact opposite of what the Vlogbrothers would argue. But that can't be right. Anyone can see that the world and everything in it is very complex. That's why scientists spend their whole lives trying to understand nature. That's why there are so many conflicts between people, and that's why it is so hard to solve them. And that's true. And I don't think that Grey would claim that people or nature are simple, much less that conflicts are easy to solve. He has a master's degree in physics and another in sociology. He knows they aren't simple. But instead, I think that Grey would argue that people and nature follow simple rules, from which complexity arises. This is a very scientific perspective, and when it comes to science, it's not debatable. Scientists have found time and again simple rules that explain incredibly complex phenomena, like how Schrödinger's equation, a single mathematical statement, explains the existence of so many different elements. When it comes to people, however, many would not agree that we can be explained by such simple rules. But consider, if all the chaos and unpredictability in nature can be explained by simple rules, why not the chaos and unpredictability on people? This argument is a very rational one that sees people in a scientific way, which is no surprise given Grey's background, and the fact that Grey himself gives the impression of being a very organized and very rational person. I mean, in a zombie apocalypse, he would kill himself. People follow simple rules. So what? That doesn't make them any less complex. And knowing that doesn't help anyone. Or does it? As a good techno-optimist, Grey thinks that knowledge is always good. Except when it comes to artificial intelligence, maybe. The point is, with the correct knowledge, we can make better choices. And here is where he's in contrast with the Vlogbrothers again. While the Vlogbrothers focus on how to improve the world for everyone, Grey doesn't touch that subject. He, as the Vlogbrothers, sees the world as something so big and complex that it is beyond anyone to try to steer it. But while the Vlogbrothers' response to that sentiment is the importance of working together, the response of Grey is to look back at the things that you can change. Look at yourself, look at your life, and improve that. Not decrease world suck, but decrease your suck. Decrease your suckiness? Decrease your own suffering. Which makes this also a branch of negative utilitarianism. This point of view is obvious in his video 7 Ways to Maximize Misery, but it's also obvious in this quote from the footnote of that video.
I want all of you to find your own happiness, and that's why I made this video.
Which is funny because, for being such an individualistic philosophy, it does sound very compassionate. And that's when we see that videos about the placebo effect, about viral ideas, about misconceptions, about the duality of the brain. All have one purpose: to educate you, the viewer, so that you can make better decisions with that knowledge. In a world so complex that it's up to us to decrease our own suffering, maybe knowledge is the best help we can get. Grey mentions that vacations are 90% of the reasons he became a teacher. But could this be the other 10%? I think this is why he cares so much about time management. Because time is life. And he had to learn the hard way how to use it correctly. But when he did, his life sucked less. And now he obviously wants other people to learn what he learned, so that their lives can suck less too. At first he said that CGP Grey had a philosophy that was opposite to the one of the Vlogbrothers, because he doesn't think that the truth resists simplicity, and he doesn't care about decreasing world suck. But now I think they actually complement each other. Because we should try to decrease suffering in the world, yes, but we should try to decrease our own suffering as well. But the best way these philosophies complement each other is that the Vlogbrothers never offer any specific suggestion on how to decrease world suck. And how could they? Every problem is so complex that it requires its own suggestions that can't necessarily apply to other problems. But Gray's philosophy does offer a suggestion that if we understand the simple rules that produce the big structures we are part of, then maybe it'll be easier to understand those complex problems and work towards their solutions. If people follow simple rules and we understand those rules, it'll be easier to imagine others complexly. Thanks a lot for watching. If you like that, please subscribe and give a like. And if you want more, stay tuned, because the next idea that gains escape velocity is why Zoroastrianism is the most influential religion you have probably never heard of. He got Irish citizenship. He got Irish citizenship somehow. The point is, with the correct knowledge, we can make better choices. And here is where he is in contrast. ¿Qué? ¿Por qué te detienes? ¿Por qué paras? ¿Por qué me haces esto, cámara? Ya, con eso.